I'm Rushikesh Singareddy. I have graduated from IIT Delhi in 2015. I hail from Kadapa, Andhra Pradesh. So I secured a rank of 95 in civil services examination in 2015. This was my fifth attempt at the examination. I gave already 5 attempts at the examination. In my first attempt, I cleared the main stage. I appeared at the interview, but I fell short by 20 marks and I couldn't secure a rank. In my second attempt, I couldn't clear the main stage itself. In my third attempt, I cleared the examination. I got a rank of 374 and I was allotted to Indian Railway Traffic Service, in which I am right now undergoing my training. And in my fourth attempt, I couldn't clear the prelim stage itself. And this was my fifth attempt at the examination. In this, I secured a rank of 95. So as I just said, this examination is a big roller coaster ride. Never be disappointed that at one stage you are being stuck at, because I have seen people clear this examination at sixth attempt without even clearing prelim stage for the first 5 attempts. So similar has been my journey has been. I went to interview, couldn't clear mains, then got a rank, and then couldn't clear prelims itself. So there will be setbacks. Never assume that these setbacks will be permanent. They're temporary setbacks. Always prepare for the examination with full confidence and uh, try to overcome these hurdles. It's difficult, but with consistent hard work, I think it's very the journey will be smooth if you are ready to continuously put in a minimum amount of efforts and time. Apart from this, I want to talk about my strategy, how I've succeeded in the examination. I will try to elaborate a bit about prelims, mains, and at the interview stage, and also about my optional. So, coming to prelims, in these 5 attempts, I did not take coaching at any stage or at any process. I have done it through only self study. So I think this is I think this clearing this examination doesn't need any coaching per se. You can do it with your own self study, but with a smart learning approach by taking the available resources which are online. And also I have benefited from many toppers blogs from their notes. So I think this exam could be done without any formal coaching. Apart from this, so if I'm able to I just wanted to say this, because if I have done this, anyone can do this. You do not need to access the costly coaching centers. You can do it even without it for one. But yes, I wanted to say something here. I have taken many mock tests, prelim. I have subscribed for many mock examinations for prelims in online in various websites like Insights on India, Clear IAS, etc. And also for mains, I have given my mock examinations in Vision IAS and some other institutes. For interview too, I have given many mock interviews. So I think the primary role of the coaching center in our entire preparation comes at this stage, where you want to test yourself. But for your preparation, I think it can be entirely done through self-study. I have also shared all my notes. I'll be putting a link below the video. You can access all my notes for prelims as well as my mains. I one suggestion I would like to make here is use my notes as a substitute rather than just reading it. Try to make your own notes from whatever the resources you will be reading on. Because making it in your own making it in your own language makes it easier for revision, as well as it will be crisp for you to complete the revision at the end. So this is my suggestion regarding note making. So I will elaborate it how the note should be made when I talk about the main section and the prelim section separately. So I will be telling about how the note making should be done when I talk about specifically about prelims, mains, and interview point of view. I'll be talking about how what are the resources to be used and how it can be used, and how to make those notes in a crisp manner. I'll be telling about them there. So now I'll tell you about my prelim strategy. Let me give a brief introduction, a brief history of my prelim scores. In 2015, I was able to score 128 in my prelims, and 2016 I was able to score 126 in prelims. In 2017, I was able to score 128 again in prelims. This year, the prelim score is not yet out, so I do not know the exact score. So overall, my the prelims preparation, the way I made it was very helpful to me. So I would like to share a few tips about that. Starting with the basic resources. So as everyone uses, my basic resources have been very similar. When it comes to polity, I have used Lakshmi Kant as my only resource. When it comes to economy, I have listened to Mrunal video lectures. They are very good. You can go to YouTube. They are all available for free. You can listen to all those videos. And then when comes to environment, I have listened to Shankar IAS. I have read the Shankar IAS environment book. It is very comprehensive in its own way. It will be sufficient for your static environment preparation. And when it comes to culture, this is a very dicey topic, I feel, because the questions are not very straightforward, and they are not just picked from one source. There is a diversified sources from which they are picking questions. So, but I think you can answer at least 50% of the questions, basic minimum questions, if you read some basic sources. Basic sources I have referred to are the NCRTs of the history NCRTs from 6th to 12th, and then apart from that, I have referred to CCRT, and the topics which are not covered in CCRT, like religious philosophies, etc., I have referred to NIOS. So these were my three basic sources for covering the culture. And when it comes to Indian history, I have referred to the Spectrum book, which everyone refers to. I think this is one very good resource for covering spectrum. And for geography, I have read the NCRTs. So this is my basic static preparation. And for current affairs, I was not very good with newspapers. I was not very honest with newspapers, so I used to read the last 2 months newspapers, but for the rest of the months I used to follow Vision IAS PT 365. I think it is a very good compendium with very good source which is available for taking the resources. So I think for current affairs, so if you follow these basic books. And also one more thing I would like to suggest: in prelim, there is a tendency for the tendency of questions being asked from maps. So try to do some whatever the correct. You don't have to do every map, but try to do some basic things in map, like in which states the Tropic of Cancer passes through which countries does it pass through. So exactly like these countries. So what are the coastal states? How which states touch which? So these such basic information, and a little bit geography about the Middle East, and a little bit geographical position of the countries which are in the news and the places which are in the news. So I think I think if you do that, that would be very much enough for covering the maps aspect of the prelims preparation. So apart from this, this should be your resources for preliminary examination. And when it comes to how to approach your note making, what I used to do is, whenever for static preparation, for prelims and for the static part of the prelims, I never made any notes. I always underlined from the textbooks itself, and I have read it. But when it comes to current affairs, I have whenever I used to read any current affairs, either from PT 365 or from the test series I have done, I used to copy those current affairs into a single note. I used to make them into a small PDF, and then I used to revise those continuously on every Sunday. So I think this is a good strategy which you can also adopt. Any current affairs you read, or any small tidbits which you encounter, uh, so that you can copy it in a single file, and then that will be good for an easier revision at the end of the month, or just 15-20 days before the examination. So note making is done. And when it comes to mock tests, so I suggest everyone to give at least 30 to 35 mock tests before you attempt your preliminary paper, because this mock sets not only sets the tone for the prelims, for giving final attempt, it also gives you how to attempt questions. It also ensures how much time you have to spend on each questions, and it also ensures that how much you have to spend on which section, which is your strength, which is not your strength. So attempting, and it also gives you good current affairs questions which you may get directly in the examination. So I think giving tests is very, very important for all these reasons. So I suggest at least it doesn't matter which coaching center test series you are taking up, but I feel it is very important for you to give at least 30 to 35 test series. So broadly, this sums up my prelim strategy. Now let's come to main strategy. How I have done my mains and what are the test series. So when it comes to examination, I wanted to give few suggestions on how to attempt the paper as such, and what was my strategy regarding it. If it is suitable to you, you can adopt it. So I used to do two revisions, and I used to go through the paper twice. So whenever I'm doing, I used to start from very first question, and whatever the question I knew it in my first iteration, I used to go through them. So it would be around 50-52 questions I would mark in my first iteration, which I am very sure of. I would do that. I would mark them in my sheet, OMR sheet. Then I would come for my second iteration. In second iteration, I would look at those questions which have not attempted. In my second iteration, whatever the questions I marked, I used to mark it in the paper, but I would still not put it in the OMR sheet. So my second iteration would also be complete. My first iteration would be completed by 1 hour. I'll mark the questions and then I'll come for second iteration. In second iteration, I'll do it in next half an hour. I also do a third iteration. Third iteration just to confirm whether to mark all those questions which I have done. All those questions which I'm not very sure of, but I have marked. So I will take a third iteration, and then after third iteration, in the last 15 minutes, I'll mark the rest of the questions, which may be around 25 to 30 remaining questions. I'll mark all of them. So this is the way I used to attempt my paper. I never used to divide them into sections. These iterations give you enough idea like how much you want to attempt. In the first iteration, if you are able to get say 60 questions, so that means you are very well safe, because the first iteration is only about questions which you are very sure of. So it allows you good amount of time, and it allows you good amount of idea on how to attempt your second iteration. So that gives you a fair amount of idea on how to how much time you have, how to attempt the next iteration question. So I think one can do such trials in mock tests, and then one can follow whatever the strategy he or she likes in the final examination. So when it comes to the attempt, so it depends on each individual to individual. But in my case, every time I used to attempt between 85 to 90 questions, not more than 90. I never attempted more than 90, but I never attempted anywhere less than 80 also. So every time I almost attempted 80 to 90. 85 would have been an ideal range for me. I used to attempt 85 questions, but sometimes people differ. People attempt 100 questions, so it's up to them. So in order to find what is more suitable to one has to try all these strategies in mock examination, and then one has to decide for themselves what is a better strategy, whether to attempt 100 questions, or whether to stop at 85. So it all depends on one's own strategy of what is suitable and what is comfortable for him. When it comes to online resources which I have used for prelims, so I used Insights on India, and also to some extent sometimes I used IAS Baba. So what Insights India and IAS Baba used to do is they used to put daily revision modules where they used to divide the entire syllabus into small parts, and they used to ask questions from those small parts every day. So there used to be around 20 to 30 questions every day. So apart from the 30-35 mock tests, I used to do these 20-25 questions every day in the morning. So I used to primarily refer to Insights on India, and sometimes when I find time, I used to also go through IAS Baba questions. So I feel prelims, I feel these questions, as they are more current affairs and dynamic oriented. So I suggest aspirants to go through them. They are a good resource in this aspect, daily MCQs. So now let's talk about the mains preparation. First, I'll talk about my general studies. Then I'll talk about my optional preparation. So coming to general studies, for GS1, as everyone knows, the sources are very standard. For whatever the sources I have prepared for prelims, my GS1 preparation has rested mostly on those on those sources only, except for some additions. For example, for sociology, I relied on NCRT books, nothing more. For geography, there is, apart from the NCRTs I referred for prelims, I also referred to online resources such as Mrunal for mineral resources and their location. So most of my GS preparation GS1 main preparation comes primarily from the prelims preparation and that books only. For general studies too, I referred to multiple sources. One, in the Lakshmikant, which I referred for prelims, it covers the static portion which was there. And second, I used to refer to Vision IAS study material. Vision IAS has a mains value addition material which is very comprehensive. I would suggest everyone to go through it if you are stuck with where to cover your GS2 portion from. It covers all the static portion really well. So as I said that I have primarily relied on Vision IAS materials for my preparation, and one can easily source them from the market, or it is also easily available online. One can easily make a search and you can get the Vision IAS value addition material. Vision IAS also puts them on their website. You can refer to them freely. And also, this is for static preparation, which I am telling. For current affairs preparation, I used to rely on Vision IAS Mains 365 material. So it is very comprehensive in its way. You don't need anything else apart from this. And I also feel that if you're not a first timer and if you're doing it for second time or third time, and if you're comfortable with the way you understand things, I think Vision IAS material is also substitute for your newspaper because they cover most of the things. Coming to GS3, the economy portion of GS3 comes from same thing. Like I used to refer to Mrunal for my economy basics. And apart from that, I used to refer to current affairs. For current affairs, I used to refer to Vision IAS Mains 365. And for other static material, I refer to Vision IAS Main Study material, which is easily available, as I said recently. So for any topic like security or environment or science and technology, they have a very good basic material which you can easily refer to. And coming to so first I'll talk about the note making strategy of GS1, 2, 3. GS4 I'll talk separately, and then I'll talk about how to attempt mock tests and what mock tests I've done in this process. So I always believed in note making as a very good strategy because, as I said, for prelims, it helps in very quick revision, and making it in your own language makes it crisp, and you can actually get those points very easily in the examination. You can actually take those exact points and you can write your mains answers there, replicate them very easily there. So for this, as I said, whenever I used to refer to Vision IAS study material also, I used to not underline there, but I used to get everything in my own words into my own notes. For example, if I'm doing about money laundering, so I used to do the topic comprehensively from Vision IAS material. And apart from that, if I find that that is not very comprehensive, I used to search online money laundering uh, on the Google. So I used to get many other resources because these days we have so many online resources, so we can get them from any resource. So I used to pick 2 to 3 resources, I used to read them, and then if I find any new dimension in it, I used to put them in my notes. So for example, Vision IAS study material doesn't have how the money laundering takes place. Like money laundering, there are 3 steps: placement, layering, integration. It may not have the diagram there, so I might find it in other source. So what I used to do, I used to take that diagram from that source and I used to put it in my notes. So actually what my notes now becomes is a very comprehensive notes of all the 3 4 materials. So it not only helps you to revise very easily rather than reading 3 4 sources, but it also ensures that your notes is complete and you can be relaxed that I don't have to do anything apart from this in this topic. So in this way, your note making should be there. I have made my notes for GS 1 2 3 in the same manner. I used to for GS 1 2 3, I did not refer to any other source. Like for example, a month before the main starts in September ending, from September 1st, I used to not read anything apart from my notes. I used to only read my notes, and also whatever the current affairs I used to read, I used to put it in my notes in a separate section. So I used to divide my notes into different sections. For example, in GS2, there are 10 topics. First is one topic is constitutional bodies, one topic is NGOs and pressure groups, other topic is international relations. So I used to divide my each GS into such subtopics, and I used to place the relevant material in that subtopic so that it becomes easier for me to revise at the end. So this is how I used to do the notes. And for everyone's advantage, I have I have hosted all my mains essay and as well as my prelims notes online. I'll be giving a link of those below the video for anyone who wish to download and who wish to read. So this is how the note making should be done. I think I've briefly explained about it, and also how one should revise their notes. And now I'll come to mock examinations. So I think for mains, the importance of mock examinations go even higher than what they hold for prelims, because in mains the time is a very big constraint, and you have to attempt all those questions within a stipulated time, and you have to allot uh, same amount of time for each question, because every question carries equal mark and you can't afford to give more time to certain questions. So for this, mock tests become very very important. I used to give around 10 mock tests between prelims and mains, and I used to give some 10 mock tests before prelims also. So it depends upon again your convenience, again your how much ever you want to give. Some of my friends I know, they have given 35 mock tests before prelims and main. So it depends at how many mock tests you are comfortable with. I feel as attempts go on, people may not require so many mock tests, but for first timers, I think it is very important to get their mozo to give as many mock tests as they want to give. Here I want to suggest a few things. First, completion of paper is very important in mains. Do not leave questions at the stake of answering few questions really well. I think completing the paper is very very important. Complete all the questions, all the 20 questions. Some people say writing in bullet points is advantageous. It depends on you. I don't subscribe to that. Some people write in bullet points, some people write in paragraph format. So it depends in which format you want to give. You can either give it in bullet points or in paragraph. So it is again your comfort zone. Um, and third thing, um, um, and third thing is basically when you're giving this examination, mains examination, what I used to do is, in order to ensure that time I'm not exceeding the time, I used to take a stopwatch. So for every so for example, in mains there are 20 questions. So the first 10 will be 10 markers, and next 10 will be 15 markers. So I used to allot 8 minutes for every 10 marker. So 10 into 8, 80 minutes. And I used to allot 10 minutes for every 15 marker. So 10 into 10, 100 minutes. That completes your 180. So I used to look at the stopwatch, and when it is nearing 7th minute for every question, then I used to jump to my conclusion. Wherever the content is, I used to rush to my conclusion so that I could finish my question at the end of my 8th minute. So that is how I used to strategy for 15 minutes. For 15 markers, at the end of 9th minute, I used to cut my body there, and I used to jump to my conclusion so that I can complete my question. So this is a basic strategy which I followed in order to keep track of time in my examination. Then I want to elaborate some changes which I made in my presentation of my answers in the mains examination, when in the fifth attempt when compared to previous attempts. So I have also written these down in my blog, which I'll also share a link to in the below, which you can look at, but I will briefly elaborate it a bit. So the first thing I have done is I made some certain presentation changes. So I got this presentation change. I actually inspired from Anudeep Durusetti. He was All India Rank 1 in 2017. So I followed his presentation model. So I have so what I used to do is, whenever I'm answering a question, whenever there is, so for example, a 10 marker has two subparts in it. So whenever I used to write a subpart, I used to put a subheading of that subpart. I used to put a box to it. Then I used to draw a straight line below it, and then I used to write points 1, 2, 3, 4. emerging from that straight line. So it used to give a very neat and clean picture. So if someone doesn't understand it, I have clearly put that in the blog through how I have written it, so one can go and view it there. And also the second thing I have done is I have added a lot of statistics. I used to write, for example, if there is a question of water scarcity, so I used to write how much is the water scarcity. Like for example, Niti Aayog report, what does the Niti Aayog report say about water scarcity? So I used to put such details so that it adds a lot to your answer. For example, Niti Aayog says by 2030, almost 25 metropolitan cities will run out of groundwater. So I used to write such statistics so that it adds weight to your answer. The third thing I have done is I used to add a lot of flowcharts and graphs and maps. For example, the same question, there was a question on water scarcity. So I drew an India map, and then I have written in the examination the water scarcity, why water scarcity, and how the water scarcity is coming from different places. For example, if I put water Punjab area, I used to put there and I used to mark it showing that due to over exploitation of water. If I write it in if I write it is in Mumbai, or if I write it in somewhere else, so I will point out why water scarcity in that is there in that region due to the specific reasons pertaining to that region. So it gives a very complete picture. And also maps can also be used for security based questions. So where you can draw an India map, show how for example, if they ask you about cross border terrorism, you can show India map showing how terrorists come into India, just a brief a brief overline of it. So that is a good way. Maps is a good way of you to understand how you can show it in a pictorial way. It shows your answers with much clarity and in a better way. It also gives a better presentation. So these are the changes I have made for my mains preparation. And I want to highlight one thing here. Apart from writing mains test series, I also used to do answer writing practice on a daily basis. I used to find some questions, either previous year's questions or the test series questions, wherever the questions I can get it from. I used to take those questions, and I used to write it, and I used to evaluate it myself, or I used to show it to my friends to get it evaluated. This was just to ensure that I am writing well within the time. I am incorporating whatever I want to incorporate in answer, the things I have just said about drawing maps, using flowcharts, making the presentation look well, incorporating statistics, etc., in my introduction, etc. So I used to track my progress on daily basis. So that comes from daily answer writing practice. It may be 2 questions every day. That doesn't matter. Spend 15-20 minutes in writing 1-2 questions every day, and then and then track your progress, so that it will be very helpful way to improve. So now I'll talk specifically about GS4. Why I wanted to separate it is basically because everyone feels that there is not much to read in GS4 when it comes to ethics. Everyone feels that they know more, but I think in GS4 the preparation is not very similar to GS1, 2, 3. The GS4's preparation should be a bit different. It should come from within rather than searching for sources. For example, I will give you an example. For example, in ethics there is a topic called conflict of interest. So everyone knows what conflict of interest is. You don't have to read any book or anything to know what conflict of interest is. But the thing here is, when you're writing an answer, for example, there is a question on conflict of interest. When you're writing the answer about conflict of interest, it would be good if you are able to give uh, any problem or any situation which you have got in your own life. So when you're preparing for GS4, your focus should be on remembering what happened to your life, or trying to connect every topic of syllabus to any practical thing. Like for example, if there is a question of honesty, so what incident of your life were you honest? Or if it comes to integrity, so like if you can't remember example of your own life, you can see who was the person you see for integrity. Like for example, Mahatma Gandhi. So what example show that he showed the value of integrity. So so when you ask me, preparation for ethics primarily comes when you can do well in ethics if you are able to think more from within your life. You should think more rather than you are reading from different sources. So I try to do that. So whatever the topic is there, I used to basic things I used to read from internet, and I never followed any other source. I used to Google them, find the definition, and then I used to think about myself what it means to me, or what it means to freedom fighters, what it means in contemporary India, what it means, what it means to be integrity in this, what it means to show integrity in this current contemporary world. So I used to think like this. So I feel ethics preparation will be better if you are able to integrate your preparation with your own examples, and if you are able to relate it with the practical world. So that apart from completing the basic syllabus, and so I have also done that. For this I have put all my notes in this, in the blog, so you can see, you can get a fair idea on how you are able to, how you can do that. This primarily applies to the first section, the section A, which there is subjective question. When it comes to section B, where there are case studies, when you come to case studies, I think one of the important aspect in case studies is how you are approaching a real life case study. So there is no theoretical in it. You have to be very practical in the way you approach your case studies. So I would like to suggest 2 to 3 things for your betterment of your case studies. One, after prelims, try to write a case study every day. So there are like 10 to 15 models of case studies. So you try to write those 10 to 15 models. Like you have in numerous case studies coming from test series or your previous years. You have so many test series. You have free online resources to find it. So any case study, you try to write it, evaluate yourself, show it to your friends, and then try to understand whether I am writing it, or whether I am writing it well, or you try. Also, you can do one thing. If the and Vision IAS website, Vision IAS has uploaded toppers answers. So in that, you try to find how many toppers answers, how many, you try to take out toppers papers of GS4, and then you try to write answers without seeing what they have answered, then try to compare that answer with the toppers answer, so you can get a fair idea on how you can improve your answer. So that is one strategy. Second thing you have to do for case studies is, see, there are case studies are not very huge in number. So there are some 15 broader topics for case studies. One talk about compassion. Some case studies talk about there is you have to follow a rule, or you have to be ethical towards someone. So in such cases, I feel whenever you're writing it, try to think of good introduction and good conclusion, because you will get 6 case studies in the exam. And if you prepare 15 to 20 different topics, one related to attitude, one related to aptitude, one related to compassion, one related to following basic rules, etc., case studies 6 case studies would definitely come from these. The case study may be different, but the theme would be same. So if you have prepared introduction and conclusion for 15 to 20 theme, the 6 case studies which you will get will come definitely from those 15 to 20 themes. So you have a ready-made introduction and ready-made conclusion already. So in that you can you and they, as you have prepared them much earlier, that introduction and conclusion which will be much better than what you can think of in examination. So your answer would stand out definitely. So this is one suggestion I would like to give. So identify what are the themes, whatever there, then you try to frame intros, introduction, and conclusion. um, More or less for ethics, this is what I want to say. So practice daily, read well, and also give test series, daily answer writing practice. And for ethics, focus one case study and more internalize your preparation for ethics. So this is what I wanted to tell about what you can do better about your mains preparation. So I have, my optional is electrical engineering. This has been my optional for all the 5 attempts, and this incidentally has also been my graduation subject also. There are few reasons for why I took electrical as my optional. One, it is scoring. Although the syllabus is very huge, but once when you prepare all the once you complete the syllabus, I think it is very good scoring optional. I scored 347 in 2017. So this was one of the reason why I got a rank in 2017. The score in 2019 is not yet out, so I will update on the score in 2019 once the marks are out. Second reason being, as it is a technical subject, so there is consistency in the amount of the marks you get and the amount of attempt you have made. I have seen this while talking to different aspirants who have different optionals that they have attempted. They have whether they are sociology, public administration, geography. Sometimes they tend to say that they have done well, but they tend to receive low marks. But that is not the case with technical optionals. If you think, if you have done really well, if you have attempted a good amount of questions, I think there is a proportionality in the way you attempt and the way you get. Third thing I also find why I took this optional is I felt this optional is more engaging. For example, as GS preparation can get very hectic and it also gets monotonous. So optional will give a different approach to preparation. Like I have to focus on problem solving. So this is more technical approach. So I felt that would balance out, the theoretical aspect, which I was not very used to with the technical optional of my graduation. So I felt this will give a much needed balance in preparation. So that's why I chose. I would like to talk more about optional in my optional video. So now I'll be talking about what has been my daily plan and how I used to approach my day during the preparation, an average day during my preparation, and how many hours I used to read. I never used to keep track of how many hours I used to read, but on average, I used to clock 8 to 10 hours every day. When it comes to when the exams used to come closer, I used to clock 12 to 14 hours also. So it used to depend on what I wanted to do. So coming to an average day, my there was no specific schedule, but I used to divide my day into various number of slots. For example, I used to make 2 hour slots every day. For example, if my slot used to start at 8, from 8 to 10, I would not do anything else, but sit and read whatever I've planned for. Then I used to take an half an hour break. Then I used to have second slot. Then I used to take 1 hour break. So I used to plan my slots like that, 2 2 hour slots. So either 4 slots or 5 slots every day. And out of that 2 slots, like 4 hours every day, I used to give for my optional every day, except 1 hour before prelims. Except 1 hour before prelims, I used to every day give optional 4 hours. One month before prelims, every day I used to give 4 hours to optional, even before prelims also. And remaining 4 to 6 hours, I used to read my GS. So it every day I used to not touch all the GS papers. Some days, like in those 3 slots or the 2 slots which I used to have, I used to divide whatever I wanted, whatever GS I wanted to do. That I used to plan on a weekly basis. I never had a daily plans, because daily we never know what might come up. So I used to have a weekly plan, and Sunday would be my revision day. So I used to plan for 6 days, and Sunday I used to revise, and whatever once after revision I used to take the day off. So this has been my broad plan throughout my preparation. Always Sunday used to be a revision day, and it used to be off mostly, or I would be giving some examination on Sunday. But in the remaining 6 days, I used to divide my day into slots. Put whatever I used to read 2 hours. If I'm reading economics, then in that slot I'll read complete economics. I'll complete whatever I can, and then I'll move on to the next slot. So I used to do like that. So it used to give a very structured way of preparation and timetabling for me. So coming to do's and don'ts, which I feel is very important. First, I'll talk about what are the don'ts which you should not be doing. Never neglect, as I already said, never ever neglect giving mock examinations. Mock examinations are very important. And second thing, never neglect your revision modules, because revision is very important. So I would say, at least whatever notes you have made, at least revise them 2 to 3 times before you go for the examination, be it mains or be it prelims. So revision is something very important. And third thing, do not shut yourself out completely. For example, if you are on social media, go on social media, because that is a time which you can relax yourself. Don't think that if you shut yourself out entirely, so you can prepare very well. I used to never do that. Always follow your hobbies, whatever it is. I used to always go for jogging, because it used to relax me. So I used to do that. Never ever. If you are fond of cricket, watch cricket whenever you can. If you're fond of football, you watch football. So never give up on your hobbies. Hobbies are something which will relax you, and which will make you feel energized for the next stage of preparation. So always continue to do that, whatever you want to do. And before prelims, do not stress yourself out. Have a good night's sleep, because that is very important before going to prelims. Don't think that just because you read 3-4 hours more extra in the night before prelims you would get anything. Just go, have good sleep, have good food, have good sleep. I think having a clear mind and a good sleep before the day will actually give you the advantage of 4 to 5 questions. It helps reduce silly mistakes in the questions, believe me. So I used to always do that. Have a good, go to sleep early, go to the center early, so that relax yourself, calm yourself. That will give an advantage, because prelims is a game of just 1 or 2 questions here and there, and that advantage you will get if you are calm. If you are calm. So even for mains, have a good night's sleep. Go early to the center. Be calm. Attempt everything in the paper. Write what all you can. Prepare well. I think uh, that should be good enough. So to conclude, I would say that be confident in whatever, wherever, in which attempt you are giving, either it first attempt, second attempt. You never know when the success will come, because I always felt that I have prepared the best for my first attempt, but I couldn't make it then. I made it in subsequent attempts, because whatever you have done for one attempt, it's not that you may get the reward instantly. You may get it later on too. But always, when you're preparing this exam, be honest to yourself, and be prepared to slog for long time. If it's very good if you get it in your first attempt, but it's not bad if you don't get it in your first attempt, because the services, the exam you want to write is highly competitive examination, and there is an element of luck which is involved. Even when you even speak to first ranker the day before the results are out, he would never know that he would get the first rank, because this examination is very very dicey. It involves various elements to go in your favor. So all you can do is prepare well, write well, and then hope the lady luck favors you that attempt. On that note, I wish all the best to all the aspirants who are giving prelims this year and in further years. Thank you so much for listening to me.